Whether you're brand new to running or you've been at it for a while, it's probably fair to assume that your goal and my goal is to run it faster for longer, regardless of what the distance is that we're speaking about. But one of the most overwhelming factors when it comes to improving running is how do we actually do that? What do we focus on? Where do we start? What do we need to do? What do we need to implement? What do we need to stop doing? Today, I wanted to eliminate some of the guesswork and share with you 4 simple, really practical strategies that you can begin to work on in your own training to start seeing the results of your race day improve. The first thing is start to include a little more interval training. Now, before we get into it, why do we do this? We often hear about this thing called the marathon shuffle. This is where an athlete gets so used to running slowly for a long time and they can go forever and ever and ever. And you say sprint and they say, I don't really understand exactly what you mean. We become so used at just going out and turning the legs over at one particular slow pace that it becomes the norm. It becomes the foundation. What we want to do is we want to start to shake things up. You can do this once or twice a week naturally. If you're starting out, I would encourage you to start really gently. And how we do this is going to change based on what it is that we're training for. Essentially, using the example of a marathon runner, you might go out and run some form of interval training, which is where you go out and run a 1K, a 2K, a 3K multiple times at faster than race pace effort. One of the most beneficial things to our cardiovascular system and to the psychology of this session is, hey, you're forced to go to a place that you're not often pushing yourself to in an easy or recovery run. Now, if you want a little bit more clarity on how to actually structure a session like this, tell me a bit about yourself in the comments below. I'm happy to offer some simple guidance, but the truth is, based on what you're training for and when race day is going to dictate how hard, how fast, and how many of these particular intervals that we do. The second thing you're going to want to start looking at is a strength routine. Now, just this morning, I had Angelo Gingerelli on the Relaxed Running podcast to speak about exactly how to do this. He's the author of Finish Strong, which is a strength and conditioning training program specifically designed for endurance athletes. One thing he says is whether you're starting with body weight or you're actually starting in the gym, a curated strength routine is beautiful for endurance athletes, though often overlooked, because in the latter stages of a race where technique starts to fall apart, where our body starts to collapse, our strength can help us maintain a more efficient technique. Not only is it beneficial for our body's ability to maintain more effective technique in the latter stages of a race, it's also very valuable when it comes to providing us with a stronger foundation to build that running work upon. You don't just want to go out there and be a flimsy, breakable, little scrawny distance runner. You want to have a little bit of strength through your joints, through your bones, through your muscles, so that when you start throwing a bit of extra weight around in the running department, your body is equipped to handle it. The third thing we want to be well and truly aware of is the technical aspect of running. Too many runners completely neglect the technical side of running, but the truth is, there's so many factors that we can improve about our running efficiency, which dictates how fast we can run for how long. I'm not going to have a chance to go into it in full detail here, but if you're interested in finding out more, hit the video that I've linked in the description to this video, which will go into the intricate details of running technique. But essentially, we want to learn, firstly, how do we identify stress and tension? Secondly, we want to learn how to release it. And finally, we want to learn how to hold certain elements of our body as we move throughout the run. How do we actually hold our hands? How do we hold our arms? What posture do we stand on? What are some simple practical changes we can make to the way that we actually move throughout a running race or a training session? It's actually going to help build momentum. An efficient runner is a faster runner. If you're not yet efficient or have any cues to develop efficiency, I highly encourage you to check that out. Now, the fourth and final section I want to speak about today is nutrition and hydration. The old saying goes, your car's only going to run if you've fueled it correctly. The same is true with distance running. If you're just living on a junk food diet, you haven't paid any attention to the carbs, the proteins, or whatever it is that you're eating in and around your running training, naturally, you're not going to be getting the most out of your body when it comes to putting in the work that you're putting in. You want to find out, okay, well, what foods fuel you as an athlete? Well, what distance are you training for? Are you a fat-fueled athlete? Are you a carb-fueled athlete? Firstly, figure out what event are you training for. Then figure out how do you fuel most efficiently for this event. Carbs is a really safe place to start, particularly if you're training for something from the marathon down. It's been a formula which has been focused on for many years and focused on effectively the world record holders in the marathon are still running with a carb-based approach. Success leaves clues. So let's look at the best in the business and start to model some of the behaviors that they use. If you are interested in getting a little bit more practical hands-on help, Relax Running offers professional coaching to athletes of all levels, all fitness levels, all running-based sports. So if you're questioning whether or not you qualify for Relax Running coaching, you certainly do. Hit the link in the description to this video to find out more. But for now, if you want more, make sure you check out the Relaxed Running podcast. We've got new episodes coming out each and every week around all things running improvement from coaches and athletes, those in and around the sport. But for now, happy training, and I'll see you back here next week.